So, it's Mother's Day today, and we are all obliged to prostrate ourselves in honor and in celebration of Mom's greatest achievement, which is the destruction of Western civilization. I don't wish to deny mothers anything that is their due. I loved my mother. She's deceased now, going on 2.5 years, and I loved her better than anything. I voluntarily speak to no one on the telephone. I spend way too much time on the telephone, and therefore I don't choose to make phone calls for pleasure, very rarely. But my mother was someone I would always be happy to hear from and was always happy to call. I miss her terribly. And I am very grateful for the contributions that she made to my upbringing. But beyond the age of 4 or so, those contributions consisted of fathering, not mothering. Mothering is a task of nurturance, and nurturance is a chore that we undertake in order to educate the child well enough that the child no longer needs that sort of active nurturance, instead needs active cultivation, which is the father's role in the family, the father's role in civilization. I have three things that I'm going to throw up on the screen one after another. I have a zillion and one things I could throw up on the screen because everything is a manifestation of everything else and it's all one thing. But the first one is a meme that I keep seeing attributed to Andy Borowitz, who writes for The New Yorker, and I haven't paid any attention to him for at least 10 years, but I keep seeing this meme on Facebook. Borowitz blaming the Trump phenomenon on the education system, and that is reasonably true in the same way that the Bernie Sanders phenomenon is a manifestation of the destruction of education, that everything that we could cite that is defective in modern civilization is a manifestation of the destruction of education, but the destruction of education was made possible by the destruction of fatherhood. That if we had active, eager, involved, serious, self-responsible fathers demanding a better education for their children, none of these things would be possible. And so to cite the education system is technically correct and yet fundamentally irrelevant because it's fatherhood that's missing, not good education that's missing, it's good fatherhood that's missing. The second thing I want to throw up is a remark made by Scott Adams determining that marriage is the real problem in Western civilization, and I cannot imagine what a delight it must be to be married to Scott Adams, particularly today on Mother's Day, while he is insisting that marriage is the ultimate evil in society. I think Scott Adams is out to prove that there's nothing he can't be wrong about, devastatingly 180 degrees wrong about. Just lately, he posted on the idea of raising all children in orphanages. Essentially, he didn't say it that way, creches if you want, depriving children of their parents, depriving parents of their children without any understanding of what it is that parents do and why the things that parents do are so vitally important for raising children. In fact, he's spurning and scourging his own parents who provided him with the cultivation that enabled him to reach this high state of status in society, a tech nerd, successful tech nerd who subsequently is a successful cartoonist and now is a successful venture capitalist and a successful pundit leading cautious incandescents in particular, this is what he is, but leading CIs astray again and again and again by insisting that the universe is something that can be modeled by a spreadsheet. There's nothing he can't be wrong about, particularly Donald Trump, but he is most wrong about marriage and family, and if you attend to him, you deserve what you get. The third thing I would cite is a post from the Federalist insisting that Big Brother is stopped by little mothers, which is just absurd, just insane. Fatherless families are an arm of the state. The purpose of undermining fatherhood for the last 2 centuries has been to turn women and children into arms of the state, to take successful, self-sufficient families and turn them into dependents by purging them of the father. And it's been enormously successful. What explains Trump? What explains Bernie Sanders? What explains these enormously corpulent creatures that I spoke of last week under the name flesh puddles? What explains the massive indebtedness of America's children, their inability to get their lives started, their unwillingness to accept responsibility for their own lives, their random promiscuity or persistent involuntary celibacy? What explains everything that has gone wrong with Western civilization over the last 200 years? Undermining fatherhood explains it all. This is what has happened to the West, and to claim that somehow or another mothers are going to stop the state is just absurd. Mothers can't stop the state, for one thing, because they can't fight. Only men can successfully engage in warfare, and therefore only men can stand at their doorsteps or stand side by side to resist tyranny. And the only reason that men would do that would be to protect their wives and their children, their homes, their estates, their wealth, to protect what's theirs. And if you take away everything that men can have from life, men have no reason to fight for anything. And accordingly, Big Brother takes over. Little Mother does nothing to resist Big Brother. To the contrary, Big Mother is an ally. Little Mother is an ally of Big Brother. When she's not actively exterminating her own children, she's delivering them into the state's maw so that they can subsequently become corpulent, indebted, unable to get their lives started, resentful, petulant, promiscuous, or celibate. Sorry, moms. You're just a wave. You're not the water. The water is fatherhood. And when we deprive civilization of fatherhood, we all die in the drought. So what I would say to mothers or would-be mothers, planning to be mothers, what I would say to women on this Mother's Day 2016 is stand by your man. Love, respect, honor, and obey him, but be very careful to choose a man who is worthy of your love, respect, honor, and obedience. But if you and your husband stand united as a common front, as a united element, you can not only resist the entities, the divisive entities of your children, you can resist the state. It's the father who will stand firm against the state, but he can only do that with mom's support. So women, stand by your man. And for everyone who is avidly, eagerly interested in restoring human liberty to Western civilization, the issue is not education, the issue is not politics, the issue is not even simply moral philosophy. The issue is a moral philosophy that understands that human families are the paramount social institution, the sine qua non social institution of Western civilization, that human families are led by active, involved, serious, self-responsible fathers, and that if you are not doing everything you can to uphold the role of the serious, self-responsible father, then you are on the side of tyranny. If you want liberty, you want fatherhood. And if you're not willing to fight for fatherhood, you might as well surrender now, because the battle's already lost. So happy Mother's Day, moms. Go kiss your husband, go kiss the father of your children, and let him know how grateful you are for him making your Mother's Day possible. My name is Greg Swan. This is the Church of Splendor. We talk about things that nobody talks about anywhere else. I look forward to talking to you again next week.